What's up guys, my name is Matthew, and today we're going to be doing my March wrap-up and my April TBR. Alright, so March was definitely probably my least productive reading month since I started my channel, and this has kind of been a theme for the last few years of my reading, where from January to May, I always read a lot fewer books than I do from June to December. I don't know why. I guess when the winter months, I don't want to read. I don't know. It seems to be a pattern every year that I read fewer books from January to May. So I'm not too concerned. That being said, this month I only read 5 books. So few, but it is what it is. This month was mediocre at best. That's how I would describe it. I had, I guess, 3 4-star books and then 2 3-star books. But really none of these books blew my mind. I had no 5-star books. I just felt really slumpish in March. I just didn't want to read, and nothing was calling me. However, I have already started April, and I have so much energy. I have a lot of books that I want to read and get through in April that I'm very excited about. So I'm going to talk about that on my TBR, so stick around because I am super excited about April, and we're going to pick up that number because 5 is just not acceptable. So in March, I was able to read 2 advanced reader copies, 2 arcs of books that are going to be published this summer. I read first Goldin's Stay Awake. And when I went into this book, I was really hesitant because I also read The Night Swim by this author, and I am in the minority of people who did not like The Night Swim. I'm pretty sure I gave it 2 stars. Don't come at me. I know The Night Swim, most people on BookTube loved it. For me, it did not resonate with me. I was really bored the entire time. This book, I enjoyed so much. Stay Awake. It's coming out August 9th, 2022. It's about a woman who every time she falls asleep, she wakes up and has no memory. Her most recent memory is 2 years prior, so there's about a 2-year gap in her memory where she has no idea what happened. So we're kind of going through this book from 2 perspectives. We have a perspective from 2 years previous, like what was going on in her life prior to her memory gap, and then we have present day timeline where we're figuring out through her eyes, why don't I remember anything, what is happening, what is going on in my life. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking like, oh, another unreliable narrator, groundbreaking. I hear you, but there's something about this book that I found so captivating. I kept needing to turn the pages because I kept needing to know what was going on. The way this was written just kept me flipping the pages. My one critique for this book is that there is a detective perspective. And I have no problem reading detective perspectives. I read books that are written from detective point of views. I know a lot of people at BookTube don't like reading detective point of views, especially in the thriller community. I don't have a problem with that. But this book, every time I would get to a chapter that was written from the detective's point of view, I was like, oh, skim, because I did not care. It was just not, it was like taking away from the rest of the book. If I had any recommendations to this authors, I would honestly cut out all the detective chapters. I don't think it was necessary. I think the reason the author put in the detective chapters is because she was using the detective as kind of a way for the audience, the reader, to figure out what was happening. Honestly, I think you should have just leave them in the dark for longer. There's a chapter where the girl goes to the doctor. Move that chapter up a little bit, and you can cut out the whole detective point of view. The detective point of view, they tried to make it where this detective was this female detective, and she was trying to give this woman a backstory. It was just not done. It was just so done. It was done in a way that was it just was not done right. That's my recommendation, is just cut out the detective point of view because the book is good. That being said, I did guess the whodunit, and I did guess the why behind the whodunit. I think it's pretty obvious. I think if you read thriller books, you will probably guess what's going on. Maybe not, maybe it's not obvious. Even though I did guess everything that was on in this book, I still just had such a good time. If you do read the detective point of view, I would just skim it and then read the last paragraph, because the only important part of the detective chapters is the last paragraph where she drops a bombshell on you or a piece of information. But you're going to find out the piece of information later in the book. So it's just, I don't know. The detective point of view took away from this book. So the author told the reader 5 times, the medical or what was going on with the woman, why she couldn't remember things. As a reader, I don't need you to tell me 5 times what's going on. Cut it all out. All right. Editing with Matthew. But this book was good. I think it's going to get a lot of attention this summer because I think it's well written. And I think she probably has a big following from The Night Swim. And it was good. It was good. It was a good book. I just, detective point of view, not for me. So the next advanced reader copy I read was Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I did an entire little 10-minute video where I explained, what the book was about, the strengths, the weaknesses, and I compared it to Blake Crouch's other books Recursion, and Dark Matter. I'm gonna try to link it up here, but I don't really know how to edit videos, as you can see. So it's gonna be up here or it's gonna be in the description, but go check that out. There's no spoilers, but I kind of give my thoughts. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Just a brief overview. It's about a world where we're able to change our genetics. So you can undergo a way to like make yourself smarter or stronger or all kinds of stuff. I'm not gonna go into it. I enjoyed it. The book felt a little rushed. You can go on my video, I give a little bit more explanation, but it was pretty easy to follow, especially compared to other Blake Crouch books. I had no problem figuring out what was going on. I enjoyed it. I think if you're a fan of Blake Crouch's other books, Recursion and Dark Matter, I think you will like this one. It's a little bit simpler than the other two, but I do think that this is gonna be a book that everyone's talking about this summer. I forgot the date it comes out, sometime in July. July 12th, I think it's July 12th. But yeah, check out my other video if you want more information on that. The next book I gave 4 stars to this month is Hostage by Clare Mackintosh. My friend Matt at Matt the Page Turner actually sent me this book because he is a flight attendant and we're gonna read it together, but I don't think he's read it yet. This book was good. It was just what I needed because it was a thriller. You couldn't think too much. If you started to think too much about what was going on in this book, you'd be like, this would never happen. And there's a lot of maybe just gaps where you're like, that would never happen. But if you turn your brain off and just have fun with this book, I think you would really like it. It is about a woman named Mariana who is on this airline that's doing an inaugural flight from London to Sydney. It's a very long flight, obviously. And when she gets on the flight, she realizes that her daughter is in danger, and she has to do certain things to cooperate with terrorists to make sure that her daughter is safe. It had some twists and turns that I thought was fun. It was just kept me on the edge of my seat. I did not buy the reason behind why the terrorist was doing what they were doing because it just was silly. It didn't make any sense. I don't really know what the terrorists were trying to accomplish. I know what they were trying to accomplish, but I don't know if hijacking an airplane was probably the best way to go about it. But hey, you know what? Like, do your thing, I got it. I'm kidding, it was a joke. Don't hijack airplanes. But it was a good book. I enjoyed it. It was fast paced. Just turn your brain off. If you want like a quick read, easy, edge of your seat, you need to keep on flipping the pages. Pretty good. It got me out of my slump, then I went back into my slump. The next book I read was The Violence by Delilah Dawson. Mona sent me this from my Amazon wish list. Thank you, Mona. I know these new releases are not cheap, so I appreciate you sending this to me. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. The reason why I only gave it 3 stars is because it's 500 pages. Like, this book is thick. I liked the message. I liked the story. I just didn't really think it needed to be 500 pages. But if you guys have been watching my videos, you know that I think most books are about 100 to 200 pages longer than they need to be, especially thrillers. I think thrillers should be between 300 and 350 pages with a few exceptions. This book is about a time post-COVID, so it's in our world, where there's this disease going around called the violence. And when you get the violence, you kind of black out and you just go crazy and start killing people and you don't remember any of it. Like that sounds interesting, right? And it would be interesting if it was 300 pages. This book did not need to be 500 pages. I had to slug to finish this book. Like, it was just repetitive, it dragged on. I liked some of the messages. The messages were about like domestic violence, domestic abuse, physical and verbal. I liked our 3 main characters, all women, and just kind of like their story. It was interesting, it was well done. It just got repetitive. It was too much, it was too long. Chop it down by 150 pages and this book would have been great. I think certain people will love this book, but I think the majority of you will think this book is too long because it's just simply, I could not wait for it to be over because it just kept on going. But thank you, Mona, again for buying me this book, and I appreciate it. And yeah, it's a really pretty book though. All right, unpopular opinion. But I read The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I'm a big fan of Lucy Foley. I've read her other 2 books, The Hunting Party and The Guest List, and I enjoyed them. I think I gave them both 4 stars, I believe. This book, I ended up giving it 3 stars. I'm hearing people that I, respect and usually have similar opinions to on Goodreads that just adored this book. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought this book was mediocre at best. I did not care. I did not find it thrilling. I did not find the twist to be twisty. I was talking to, I think it might have been Matt, and I was telling him I'm not having a good time. I was about halfway through, and he was like, wait till the middle of the book, there's like a big twist. And I was like, is this the twist? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay. Like, that did nothing for me. I don't know why people were so blown away with it. The twist at the end, I do see, that was a fun twist, but it wasn't enough for me to really enjoy this book. Lucy Foley does a good job at the closed room, or like the locked door mystery, where it's like a group of suspects and one of them is the killer. This book, I don't know, it just fell flat for me. I did not like it, and I'm not gonna join the hype that this book is getting on BookTube. Enough about that, let me tell you about the book. In this video, I'm not doing a good job at like telling you about the book. I'm giving you my thoughts, then telling you about the book, so I apologize. But this book is about this Paris apartment, and there's just a bunch of people that live there, and they're all kind of sus. This woman is looking for her brother, and she shows up to the apartment, and her brother's not there, and she's just trying to figure out what happened to her brother. Yeah, like that's the book. I don't know. There's some twists and turns, but yeah, that was it. It's like this girl's like, these people are being suspicious at this apartment. Where is my brother? And you know, the ending was okay. It was good. I was watching the live show that Gabby Reeds did with, I think her name is Lexi, and they were like saying things that happened in the book in the spoiler section. I like had already forgotten all of it because this book is just in my brain and out. Yeah, so I don't know. If you haven't read it, I think it's a skip, but some people loved it. I think it's just one of those things where you're either gonna love it or it's just gonna fall flat for you, and it definitely fell flat for me. I wanted to give a quick update of House and Sky and Breath. I read the first book in the series last month. I just, you know, I'm on page 160. That might be a little bit further than the last time you saw me talk about this book. I just have no inclination to pick up this book. I don't know, I'm not into it. I don't care. Am I DNFing it? No, I think I will read it, but just like right now, I'm putting it aside. It's on my dresser. I might pick it up randomly if I'm feeling it, but right now, don't expect me to finish this book anytime soon because I'm just not feeling it. All right, now the part of the video I'm actually excited about because I have so many books that I'm excited about reading in April. I'm participating in Spring-Fling-O-Ween. You guys make these topics so hard for me to say, but it's from Gabby Reeds and Olivia Reads a Latte. It's their, you know, now quarterly reading readathon where they read thriller books and horror books, and this is kind of spring themed. We have the spring colors. We have the Scream mask. By the way, did you guys see Scream 5? It was phenomenal. I loved it. It was so campy. I was like cheering in the theater every time like Courtney Cox came out or Dave Arquette or Naomi Campbell. Like the audience was like clapping and cheering. And I love this movie. It was so well done, and it is hard to have a series where you have 5 movies and then not be repetitive. It was fantastic. I recommend you go see Scream 5 because it is such a good time. And I think the key to why it's so good is because it doesn't take itself seriously. It's almost like funny. All right, back to my TBR. I am participating in this and I'm very excited. I'm going to try to vlog my thoughts on the books I'm reading. Thankfully for this readathon, Gabby and Olivia, you know, only gave me two prompts, which I'm like, thank you girls, because normally they give you like 15 prompts, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to quit my day job to accomplish this readathon. I don't have time to read 16 books in 3 days. Like, so this time they only gave me 2 prompts, and I'm here for it. The first prompt is read a book with pink or yellow on the cover, and I'm gonna read 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. We have our yellow. This is also Gabby's book troop reading, you know, group reading book that she's gonna read in April, so I'm gonna read that for that as well. I know very little about this book. I'm a fan of Peter Swanson. I know that there's a list of 9 people, and if you're on this list, you start getting murdered. That's all I wanna know. I don't wanna know anything else, and I'm gonna read this book knowing only that. So I'm excited about that. The next prompt on the readathon is to read a backlist horror thriller, and Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell has been looking at me. I have it on like my dresser, I have a few books up there, and this has been looking at me for so long. So I'm just gonna read it. I don't even know what it's about. I think it's about a daughter and a mom, and the daughter goes missing. I really know nothing about it. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more, but I'm gonna go into thrillers these days, like in the future, knowing very little, because I think it's so much more fun to know very little about a thriller. Yes, but those are the 2 books I'm gonna read for that readathon. I think that they were also supposed to like make like a festive cocktail for Spring-Fling-O-Ween, and you know, this should be Reading and Drinking with Matthew. That should be the name. So I'm very excited about exploring some cocktails, and I will try to put that in my vlog. But yes, other than those 2 books, I have a handful of books that I'm excited to read. I have 3 hyped thrillers, and I was gonna do a reading vlog on them, but then I realized that I don't wanna give away too much about these books because I think that's crucial to enjoying them. So I didn't really know what I would talk about in my reading vlog. It would just be me like, this book is good, I'm not gonna tell you anything, and like nothing interesting is happening in my life right now except work. And I don't think you guys wanna watch me screaming at a computer screen. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe that's, you know, what you're looking for, but I think most of you wouldn't be interested in watching that. But for that vlog that I'm not gonna do, I'm gonna read Who is Maud Dixon, Confessions, and They Never Learn. These are the 3 books that I get constantly recommended when I ask for thrillers, and I should have read these books a long time ago. I'm actually almost done Who is Maud Dixon. I am loving it. If you know nothing about this book, you are in a perfect position. I'm gonna give you a blurb, and what I want you to do is I want you to buy it, I want you to borrow it from your library, and only know what I'm about to tell you. It is about this author named Maas Dixon that no one knows anything about. They don't know the gender, they don't know who this famous author is, and there's this girl named Florence who works in publishing, and she gets to be Maas Dixon's assistant. That's all you need to know. Know that it's a thriller. The first half of this book is not thrilling, it's more of a, I think someone on the back called it a literary thriller. I learn a new term every time I pick up a book. Literary thriller. What the fuck does that mean? Yeah, so I'm enjoying it. I'm almost finished. It starts getting more like thrillery at the second half of the book. But if you read the flap on the inside of the book, it tells you the whole book. It took me more than halfway, was spoiled by the flap on the book. So that's why I'm telling you, don't read the flap on the book. Just pick it up and read it because it's so good. I'm enjoying it. But yes, that's what I'm reading right now. Who is Maas Dixon? I'm gonna read Confessions, which I've heard good things about. It is about a woman who is a teacher and she retires, and it's kind of like a revenge book, and secrets come out, and that's all I know. Another, like I said, I don't wanna know about thrillers. I wanna know the very minimum so that I can enjoy them and be thrilled. I feel like I get spoiled by thrillers because they give away too much. And then they never learn. I mean, I've heard about this book for so long, and I love this little copy. I got a hardcover from Amazon. It was like $10. Yeah, this book is about a woman who is a college professor, but then she's also she kills bad men. So she's like a serial killer, but kind of in the way that Dexter is a serial killer, where she kills only bad people. And I'm pretty sure there is a female-female romance mixed in with this book. So I'm very excited. I've heard only good things. So that's what I'm rereading. What else do I have to talk to you about? That's it. Oh, I also got an advanced reader copy of Hidden Pictures by Jason Reckluck. I don't know how to say it. I got it from, what's it called? Goodreads, like a giveaway. And they have like pictures in it. And apparently it's about this boy who starts drawing like pictures, and then the pictures get like really scary. I do know that there's some supernatural elements in this book, and you guys know I'm not a big fan of throwing supernatural elements in thrillers. Two books that I've read have had supernatural elements. I gave 5 stars to The Brightlands and Behind Her Eyes. And the author by Behind Her Eyes is also releasing a book this month, so maybe I'll read that. We'll see. So there are books out there that have supernatural elements that are thrillers that I do enjoy. So hopefully I can get to this and let you guys know. I don't know when it comes. It comes out in May 2022. Okay, so it's gonna come out soon. But I will try to get to this and see if I can give you my thoughts. Those are the books that I am reading in April. I am ready to get out of my reading slump. All of these books are exciting to me. I'm already jumped in on April, and I'm really enjoying Who is Maas Dixon. If you've read any of these books, let me know below. Let me know if you have any thriller recommendations that I should know nothing about, and I should just pick it up and read it knowing nothing, because that's what I'm feeling these days. I want to know nothing about books that I'm going into. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in another video soon.